Hey guys, there is this phenomenon in comics that you could refer to as celebrity driven or celebrity written books. Now, at some point, comics are so unique in the fact that everybody thinks that they can make them. And whether that's the 16-year-old kid who's making his own adventure in space, or whether that's, somebody who's never read a comic book, but, saw a character somewhere and decided, hey, I can do the same thing. Everybody thinks that it's easy. And so when celebrities start getting, I don't know, maybe they're bored, maybe they haven't a time off from a season of a TV show or something, they tend to just think, well, as a pet project, I'm just going to go ahead and create a comic book. And people are going to read it, and it's going to be great. Now, I'm not dissing on this action. I mean, obviously, you've got somebody like Gerard Way. He was, so if you guys don't remember, there was a band called My Chemical Romance back in the day. So this was a pretty popular band, did kind of this, I don't know, rock and roll pop music kind of stuff. And at any point, the lead singer of that band decided he was going to write a comic book. But here's the thing. He was a fan of comic books. He was also coming from another medium, music, where you had to write. And then you've got kind of this pseudo written stuff out there, like, yeah, everybody looks at the guy who was playing John Wick, the guy who was playing Speed, the one, the only Keanu Reeves, and his comic book Berserker. But here's the thing, I think Keanu probably came up with some concepts, maybe a general plot, but he didn't write that. He was not the guy pitting the lines and dialogue and coming up with all the actual stuff that's in there, making the transitions from scene to scene. That wasn't him, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, he was a big concept idea person. But in any case, now it seems like everybody just thinks they can go to comic books. Like it's just something that is, easy. And it's one of those things, the comics have always struggled as a media in the US to be taken seriously because there's still this concept that comics are for kids. Comics are for people who aren't not talented enough to go into Hollywood, not talented enough to become a writer for a TV show or a writer for a movie. And they're the second tier of entertainment almost. I disagree, but that's not the mentality of most people. Most people, I'm not talking comic fans, most people off the street, if I walked up to my mom, if I walked up to somebody's uncle who'd never read a book, if I just went to the everyday person on the street and then said, what do you think about comic books? Have you read a comic book lately? They'll probably go, no. Maybe as a kid I used to read them. And that's the thing. It's a kid's entertainment medium as portrayed by most people in the US. It's not like in Japan where manga is read by people as as common as it is for a 12-year-old in Japan to read a manga. It is also almost as common as a 60-year-old to read manga. Well, the problem with that is now people can just, if somebody's an actor somewhere, somebody's a musician somewhere, and they think to themselves, I am bored, let's write a comic. Nobody stops them. Nobody goes, are you an idiot? Are you a moron? Have you ever read a comic? Do you even write comics? Can you tell me what the 10 best stories of graphic novels are? No, people just go, yeah, why not? Why don't you just shake it up a little bit? And why don't you just create something and have somebody, have a character out there? Sure, you can do it. And it's a really odd thing because you wouldn't do that for other mediums. You don't see a lot of Hollywood actors suddenly go, well, I am going to become a newscaster, or I'm going to go and write the great American novel, or I'm going to become an abstract painter. Actually, I take that back. I've seen some pretty terrible paintwork done by some celebrities. But in any case, there is a rarity because there's almost a sense of embarrassment, unfair failure if they were to go into those other mediums because they're probably not going to be that good. They won't be in the top 100 performers if they decide to become a singer when previously they had only acted on some low-level CSI knockoff show, right? So in any case, when you have the dragon lady from Game of Thrones decide to come in and just write a comic book and just assume that it's going to be great and it's going to be easy, while in reality it is a snarky joke of a book, it said something about the industry. And the worst part about it is the people in the industry, I'm talking to you, Image Comics, who go, yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Let's greenlight it. Let's put it in the shelves. Let's advertise. Let's put it on our website. Let's get everybody to know about this book. And we'll even do a press release and put it off into the major quote-unquote comic book sites, right? So now, what does that tell you? It tells you that even the people in the industry itself don't take comic books as a serious medium. Because where else, if I was a serious comic book publishing company, why would I say I'm going to take someone with zero experience and I'm going to put them on a book and it's going to be the biggest push that I'm going to do in the last 3 years for a comic book? I'm not going to sit out there and push Invincible. I'm not going to sit out there and push Spawn, the new universe. No, I'm going to push Mother of Madness, a book about a woman who gets powers from her biological processes. So this is just me in a rant, but this is a problem. You keep having people who almost either want to be as celebrities or want to serve the celebrities. You know, how many comic book people are actually in it to write comics? Comics are awesome. Hey, Keanu Reeves, that's what he said. Comic books are awesome. But you know what? When you're sitting there and you look at this as a transient media to a bigger purpose, to a bigger job, when you're trying to just get a deal so you can become a writer on a third-tier show that's going to be on, I don't know, UPN or some weird network like that, this ain't for you. But that's what a majority of the new people coming in writing comics are doing. They're just looking at this as a stepping stone, as a way to present their scripts in a graphic form so that it can be a pitch for some movie or some show. So, why are we letting this happen? I think the main thing is we, as an industry, when it comes to comic books, have to take things more seriously. We have to believe that this is the end game, guys. This is not us going from one medium and using it to leverage a future career. No, this is the end game. Comic books should be where we want to be. When you were a little kid and you saw those superheroes, when you saw Superman flying, when you saw Spider-Man swinging, when you saw Wolverine popping his claws and the Hulk hulking out, that's what you wanted to do, was create those comic books. Those are the people we need to be in the industry, not the people who want to go into movies, go into television, and so because of that, because they want to have connections in Hollywood, they'll allow these celebrities to come in and just start creating these books and say, oh yeah, fantastic. No, that's not what it is. Anyhow, that's my rant. Let me know what you think.